Respected viewers, dear family of dreamers, before we speak of money or business or success, let us speak of time, because time is the only currency you were given before you ever earned a dollar. And somewhere in the quiet corners of your life, time has been watching you, waiting, wondering when you will finally believe that your future can be different from your past. Wealth is not only built in bank accounts, it is first built in belief. And tonight, in this moment, you are standing at an invisible crossroads between the life you've been surviving and the life you were always meant to build. I know many of you are tired, not just physically, but emotionally. Tired of checking your bank balance before you check your dreams. Tired of working hard and still feeling behind. Tired of watching other people talk about freedom while you calculate bills in your head. Some of you grew up in homes where money was a constant source of stress. Whispered arguments behind closed doors, lights turned off to save electricity, parents who worked endlessly yet never seemed to get ahead. You didn't inherit stocks. You inherited survival instincts. And survival mode is powerful, but it was never meant to be permanent. You were taught to work for money, but never taught how to make money work for you. You were taught to be careful, but never taught to be courageous. So when you hear the words start a business, your mind doesn't see opportunity. It sees risk. It sees failure. It sees embarrassment. It remembers every time something didn't work out, every job rejection, every late fee, every moment you felt behind in life. But let me tell you something gently, clearly, truthfully. The people who build wealth are not fearless. They simply learn to move forward while fear walks beside them. Starting a business from home as a beginner is not about becoming an overnight success. It's about reclaiming control. It's about saying, even if I start small, I will start. And small is not something to be ashamed of. Small is where freedom begins. Small is where skills are born. Small is where confidence grows quietly without applause. I remember a man who started with nothing but a secondhand laptop at his kitchen table, no fancy degree, no investors, just late nights after work, teaching himself a simple skill, organizing spreadsheets for small local businesses that didn't understand numbers. He charged little at first, almost too little, but he wasn't just earning money. He was buying experience. Month by month, client by client, he learned pricing, communication, discipline. Years later, he wasn't selling hours anymore. He was running a remote bookkeeping firm with a team, all from the same home where he once doubted himself. His biggest battle was never competition. It was the voice in his head that said, "Who do you think you are?" That voice lives in many homes. Maybe you've thought about offering a service online, writing, designing, editing, managing social media, helping local businesses answer emails, organizing data, scheduling appointments remotely, and then doubt whispers. There are people better than you. Of course there are. There will always be someone ahead of you. But there are also thousands behind you, praying to know what you already know. Beginner businesses from home are powerful because they grow with you. You don't need a warehouse. You don't need employees. You don't need to quit your job tomorrow. You need consistency. You need the humility to start clumsy. You need the patience to improve quietly when nobody is watching. Wealth loves patience, but modern minds crave speed. That's why most people stop too early. They try something for a month, maybe two, and when the money doesn't flow fast, they assume they failed. No, you didn't fail. You just met the phase where discipline is tested, the phase where effort feels invisible, the phase where your future self is being built, but your current self feels tired. I've seen beginners start simple home service businesses, cleaning, scheduling services where they don't clean houses themselves, but connect clients with cleaners and manage communication. I've seen people resell items online from their garage, learning negotiation, marketing, customer service. I've seen quiet introverts build income editing podcasts, designing thumbnails, managing inboxes for busy professionals. None of them looked impressive in the beginning. None of them made headlines, but they made progress, and progress compounds. Compounding isn't only for money, it's for effort. 1 hour a day learning a skill compounds. One client served with excellence compounds. One uncomfortable message sent to pitch your service compounds. The world only sees the success story at the end, but wealth is built in the invisible middle. And yes, you will stumble. You might underprice your work and feel taken advantage of. You might trust the wrong client. You might try an idea that brings no results. You might compare yourself to people who started years before you and feel small. These are not signs to quit. They are tuition fees for the education school never gave you. Every mistake is a payment toward financial wisdom. If you choose to learn instead of retreat, Delayed gratification is a language few people speak fluently. It means working today for a reward you cannot yet see. It means using your evenings to build something instead of escaping into distraction. It means earning extra income and not upgrading your lifestyle immediately, but reinvesting into tools, skills, savings. It means understanding that freedom is purchased in installments, not won in a lottery. A home business for a beginner is not just about money. It is about identity. You stop seeing yourself only as an employee and begin seeing yourself as a builder, a problem solver, a value creator. That shift, that internal shift, is where real wealth begins. Because when you learn how to create value from your own skills, your own time, your own initiative, fear loses its grip. You realize you are not trapped. You are not powerless. You are not stuck waiting for someone to give you a raise, a chance, a break. You begin to understand that income can be generated, not just requested. But this path asks something from you quietly, consistently. It asks you to show up when motivation is gone. It asks you to keep learning when progress is slow. It asks you to be a beginner longer than your ego likes. It asks you to trade short-term comfort for long-term stability. And most of all, it asks you to believe that your future deserves effort your past never received. You are not late, you are not behind, you are early in a new chapter. The kitchen table can become a command center. The spare bedroom can become a studio. The quiet hours after work can become the foundation of financial independence. Not because it's easy, but because it's possible. And possible, it is all a determined heart truly needs. Start small, but start with intention. Charge fairly, but deliver excellence. Learn constantly, but act consistently. Let others chase fast money. You build lasting value because slow, steady, skill-based income built from home has something flashy opportunities don't. Control and control over your time. Your income, your future is one of the purest forms of wealth a person can ever achieve. Control doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives quietly, disguised as small daily decisions that nobody claps for. This is the season where many people give up because effort feels heavier than reward. You wake up early to work on your small home business before your regular job, and the numbers still look small. You send proposals and hear nothing back. You improve your skill, but the world doesn't immediately notice. And in these moments, the mind plays dangerous tricks. It whispers, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you should just be grateful for what you have. Maybe freedom is for other people, but growth is happening in places you cannot measure yet. Your discipline is strengthening like a muscle under resistance. Your emotional control is maturing each time you choose to work instead of complain. Your confidence is being built not from applause, but from evidence. Evidence that you can keep promises to yourself even when it's hard. This is where emotional discipline becomes wealth discipline. Anyone can work when they feel inspired. Few can work when they feel invisible. Yet invisible seasons create undeniable futures. Think of a tree in winter. From the outside, it looks lifeless. But underground, the roots are expanding quietly. Preparing for a spring nobody can stop. Your beginner business from home is the same. What feels like nothing is happening is often deep structural growth. Systems, skills, resilience, patience. You begin to understand something powerful. Results are a lagging indicator. Identity is the leading one. Before the income grows, the person must grow. The impatient version of you would waste money as fast as it arrived. The undisciplined version would quit after one difficult client. The fearful version would shrink prices out of insecurity. So life, in its strange wisdom, stretches the journey, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Silent sacrifices become your new language. You say no to things people expect you at. You choose learning over entertainment. You use extra income to buy tools or courses instead of status symbols. You build savings quietly while others upgrade lifestyles loudly. Nobody sees the evenings you spend improving your offer, refining your service, studying your market. Nobody posts about the nights you doubt yourself but continue anyway. But these are the moments that separate dabblers from builders. A home business teaches you long-term thinking in a world addicted to short-term pleasure. You stop asking, how much did I make today? And start asking, what did I build today that can pay me again tomorrow? You begin valuing systems over spurts of effort. You document processes. You improve client experience. You learn to communicate clearly, to solve problems calmly, to handle money responsibly. These skills are assets, and unlike trends, they do not expire. There will be months where growth is slow, painfully slow. Months where expenses show up at the worst time. Months where you question if the extra effort is worth it. In those months, consistency is your lifeline, not intensity. Consistency. Showing up imperfectly still counts. Doing one small task still moves the wheel. Sending one message, improving one detail, learning one lesson. These are the quiet votes you cast for your future. And slowly, almost invisibly, momentum begins to shift. A client refers another. A skill becomes easier. Your confidence in pricing grows. You speak about your work with less hesitation. You notice that problems which once overwhelmed you are now routine. What used to take you 5 hours takes 1. What once felt terrifying now feels normal. This is compounded competence, and it is one of the most profitable forces on earth. You also start to detach emotionally from money in a healthy way, not careless, but calm. A slow week no longer breaks your spirit. A difficult client no longer shakes your identity. You understand that business has seasons, and you are building for decades, not days. This long-term lens is rare, and that rarity is your advantage. Most people stop at the valley of slow results. They never reach the plateau of steady income because they couldn't tolerate the climb. But you are still here, still learning, still adjusting, still believing that your effort has meaning beyond immediate reward. That belief, held consistently over time, becomes self-fulfilling. Because the person who refuses to quit gains experience the quitter never will. The one who keeps improving becomes valuable in ways the impatient never understand. And value, real value, always finds a way to be paid. So when results feel invisible, remember, foundations are never glamorous. But without them, nothing stands. And right now, in your quiet home, with your small but determined efforts, you are pouring the concrete for a future that will one day feel unshakable. And one day, almost without noticing the exact moment it happened, you wake up different. Not because your life is suddenly perfect, but because your fear is no longer in charge. The numbers in your bank account may still be growing, still evolving, but inside, something is settled. A quiet confidence replaces constant worry. You no longer feel like someone hoping to get lucky. You feel like someone building something real, something earned, something steady. The home that NCE felt like a place of financial stress becomes a place of creation. The same walls that heard your doubts now witness your discipline. The same table where you once worried about bills now holds your laptop, your plans, your client notes, your vision. Nothing outside may look dramatic, but everything inside you has changed. You understand money differently now. Money is no longer just something that comes and goes. It is a tool, a resource, a reflection of value exchanged. You respect it, but you are no longer controlled by it. You don't panic as easily. You don't compare as much. You don't rush decisions from desperation. Patience has entered your financial life like a wise old friend, reminding you that slow growth built on skill is more peaceful than fast money built on luck. You also begin to see time with new eyes. Free evenings are no longer only for escape. They are opportunities. Opportunities to refine, to think, to build systems that make tomorrow easier than today. Why? Always start protecting your energy. You say no without guilt when something threatens your focus. Not because you've become cold, but because you've become clear. Clarity is expensive, but once earned, it pays you back for life. Your beginner business may still be small by the world's standards, but to you, it represents proof. Proof that you can learn. Proof that you can adapt. Proof that you can create income beyond a paycheck. That proof changes how you walk, how you speak, how you plan your future. You no longer dream only in fantasies. You dream in strategies. You think in years, not weeks. You understand that wealth is not a moment, it is a direction. And every day you continue, every client you serve well, every skill you sharpen, you are walking that direction with calm determination. There is peace in this pace. No loud announcements, no desperate chasing, just steady progress, guided by discipline, protected by patience, fueled by purpose. You begin to trust yourself, not because you know everything, but because you know you will figure things out. You've done it before. You started with doubt and grew into capability. You started with fear and grew into action. That is real transformation. And as your income slowly strengthens, so does your generosity. Your ability to help at home, your ability to give without anxiety, your ability to plan without panic. You feel less trapped by circumstances and more guided by intention. The future stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like a space you are prepared to enter. This is the quiet reward of building something from home as a beginner. Not just extra money, but inner stability. Not just flexible work, but a flexible mind. Not just financial growth, but emotional maturity. You become calmer because you know you are capable. You become patient because you've seen slow effort work. You become hopeful, not from wishful thinking, but from lived evidence. And in that calm confidence, you realize something beautiful. You didn't just build a small business. You built a new version of yourself. Then carry this truth gently in your heart. Wealth is not a race you sprint through. It is a garden you tend with patience, discipline, and quiet faith. You began this journey feeling uncertain, maybe even unworthy of financial peace. You questioned whether someone like you, with your past, your responsibilities, your fears, could really build something of your own. But step by step, late night by late night, small effort by small effort, you proved that progress does not belong to the fearless. It belongs to the faithful. Faithful to their vision, faithful to their growth, faithful to the promise they made to themselves not to quit. A beginner business from home was never just about income. It was about reclaiming power over your time, your choices, your future. It was about breaking the quiet belief that life only happens to you and replacing it with the stronger truth that life can also be built by you. Every skill you learned, every mistake you survived, every moment you chose discipline over distraction, laid a brick in the foundation of a calmer financial life. And now you understand something many never do. Abundance is not only a number in a bank account, it is the ability to breathe without constant financial fear. It is the confidence that you can create value when you need to. It is the peace that comes from knowing your future is shaped by intention, not only circumstance. Keep your vision long, your habits steady, and your spirit grounded. Let others chase noise. You continue building substance. Let others rush for quick wins. You stay committed to lasting freedom because slow, skill-based, purpose-driven wealth does more than change your income. It changes your identity. You are no longer just surviving months. You are designing years. Move forward with patience when growth feels quiet, with discipline when motivation fades, and with inner peace knowing that every consistent step matters. The path you are on is not flashy, but it is powerful. And if you stay with it calmly, wisely, persistently, the life you once hoped for will one day feel normal, not because luck found you, but because you never stopped building.